This Minecraft world is one giant ocean. Even with no land in sight, my goal is to survive the next 100 days in hardcore. With extremely limited resources and the fear of dying and losing the world at any second, my goal is to create a cozy base equipped with all of the essentials to survive in hardcore Minecraft. Alright, here we are on day 1. Usually I start all of my worlds by punching a tree, but there's really not a lot of those around here, are there? All we have is our little bamboo raft, and if we take a look inside here, all we have to start this world is a single grass block, a sapling, and a pink bed. So I think our best course of action is to get like 1 or 2 dirt blocks and try to start building some sort of platform that we can get building on. Let's hopefully do this without drowning, that'd be pretty nice. Okay, we got 1 block there. Can we get a second one without drowning? Okay, give me that. Come on, back to the surface, and okay, just in the nick of time. Okay, I might be 2000 IQ here, but I think we can place this like on top of kelp. Oh, wait, we can. Wait, I'm actually kind of smart. What the heck? Okay, so let's just do our second dirt block right there then. Then let's just bring our little bamboo raft over here and boom, base is done. I'm only kidding, of course. Let's just grab our starter items out of this chest. Okay, but with those in hand, let's place down our grass block right there. That can kind of spread, and then we'll do our sapling right on this block. Okay, and while we wait for that sapling to grow, let's see if we can get a few more dirt blocks. It'd be really nice to expand our platform a bit. I managed to get 2 more dirt blocks. Let's just go boop and boop. And I guess I'll just keep repeating this process until the tree grows, you know, not really much else to do. Maybe I can get 3 without drowning? No, okay, I'm trolling, don't, okay, whew, close one. Can you please grow up, little sapling? I would love to get some wood materials. Oh, no way, our tree already grew? That's insane. Okay, let's just place down that dirt that I just grabbed and chop this tree down. Oh, and I got a sapling, let's go. Okay, actually getting a sapling back was huge. If we did not get one of those, we'd be kind of screwed. All right, but let's punch this tree down, get ourselves some logs. We got 4 saplings back from that one tree, which is kind of crazy, so let's just plant those down maybe just like that. And then we of course have some logs, so let's turn those into planks and make ourselves a crafting table. And might as well make a few sticks while we're at it. Okay, but let's place down this crafting table just like that, and we can make ourselves, oh yeah, our first wooden pickaxe. And we might as well just make ourselves an axe as well as a shovel too. And I'd make a sword, but I only have 1 plank left. And the nice thing is, now that we have a shovel, we should be able to dig up this dirt a little bit faster, which should speed up the process of expanding our platform. Okay, I managed to get 5 dirt blocks there instead of just 2, which is kind of what we've been getting before, so let's expand this. And somehow the sun is already setting. I don't know where the time went, but that's alright. Let's just sleep away the first night, and honestly, pretty good progress. Already on to day 2, which is kind of crazy. I would love to get some cobblestone though, and I think we should be able to get some right here. I'm not sure. Can we mine this up without drowning first? Let's see. Please give this to me. Okay, we got 1. Let's go back up to the surface, catch our breath. I maybe should have made some doors or something instead of all these tools just so we could breathe under the water. You know, might be a little bit painful, but we're gonna have to get these one at a time, I think. Okay, just need 1 more cobblestone and then we should be able to make ourselves a faster pickaxe. Okay, we've got 3 cobblestones, so let's just place down our crafting table and quickly make ourselves a better pick. Now that we have that though, is there any iron down here? I'm not seeing any. I will definitely take this coal though, I'm sure it'll come in handy. I'm drowning. Oh, why did I do that? I should have been more careful not to take damage because I'm starting to get hungry now, but there's quite a few fish down here, so should be some pretty good early game food. Maybe not the best, but you know, some raw fish, I guess it's sushi time. With our food situation sorted for the time being, I locked in and mined up more cobblestone as well as coal. After breaking one of the coal blocks though, it revealed a cave hidden below it. Without thinking, I hopped down into it, and of course, a skeleton instantly started no-scoping me. And with no armor, I got down to just 2.5 hearts. With my booty cheeks just slightly clenched, I managed to box myself into safety. I mean, thank goodness I still had a couple of fish, so I crafted a furnace and cooked them up. And after eating the fish to heal up, I also took a second to craft myself a slightly better stone sword. I was nervous to leave the safety of my box to say the least, but I wanted to get my revenge on the skeleton, so I took my chances. But weirdly, after searching the entire cave, the skeleton was nowhere to be found. I was a little anxious about the skeleton's whereabouts, but decided to just carry on and mine up all the iron that was down here. I ended up getting 13 iron, which was pretty good, and I also grabbed all of the copper as well as more coal. Back at our base, I expanded our little floating island using some cobblestone, and then I started smelting up all of our iron. While waiting, I figured I better go get more food since I was completely out, so it was back to hunting down some cod in the water. After getting a decent supply of fish, our iron was done smelting, so I took it out of the furnace and started cooking up our food. I also noticed some of the trees had grown at this point, so I took a minute to chop them down. After that, I crafted a shield and chest plate, as well as an iron pickaxe and shovel. As the sun was setting, I finished off the day by replanting the trees and then enjoyed some of our cooked cod as a bit of a bedtime snack. I began the following day by making a few doors, and then I went down to the ocean floor to gather up more dirt. And with the help of our doors, I was able to breathe underneath the water, which allowed me to get a decent supply of this stuff. And why did I gather up all this dirt? To expand our platform, of course. My hope is that once the grass spreads, some animals will spawn, but I guess we'll see. Our platform is pretty basic, but you know, it's getting there, even got our saplings spread out, so it's a little less claustrophobic. Anyway, I want to continue upgrading our gear, so I located a new cave that was exposed in the ocean and started mining up anything useful I could find, like coal, copper, iron, lapis, and gold. But of course, what I was really after was diamonds, and before long, I found my first diamond vein. Unfortunately, it only ended up being 1 diamond, but it was all good because shortly after that, I found 4 more shiny blue diamonds. The good times didn't stop there, as on day 6, I found even more. Eventually, my iron pickaxe broke, so I decided to just go ahead and make myself a diamond one. With that in hand, I continued exploring the cave for any other valuable resources I could find. I also had to fight off quite a few mobs, which was a little scary, but at least one of the spiders I killed dropped a couple of string, which is actually huge since we can use it to make a fishing rod later. I was starting to get low on food though, so I figured I better start making my way back up to the surface. Along the way though, I took a few pit stops to gather up more coal and even more iron. Back at the safety of our floating island base, I organized my goodies, and here's a quick look at everything I got. I started smelting the iron, and while waiting, I cut down the trees since pretty much all of them grew while we were caving. Afterwards, I turned a few bones I got from skeletons into bone meal and then used that to make some grass, which I then broke to get some wheat seeds. Using a hoe, I tilled a section of our base and got a simple farm going. Really glad we got that set up, and even better, all of our iron is done smelting. With a big supply of the stuff now, I crafted an entire set of armor, and with our diamonds, I also made some new, better tools. And while I was in crafting mode, I made a fishing rod with our string. Since fishing is low-key, kinda cozy, I decided to lock in and fish for the remainder of the day. All I got was more fish, which isn't bad since I'm in desperate need of more food, but I was really looking for something more interesting, so after cutting down all of the trees once more, I got straight back to fishing. I got completely carried away and kept fishing all the way into day 11 until my fishing rod broke. But sadly, even after all of that, I didn't get anything super rare or exciting. Oh well, we'll give it another shot once we get more string for a new fishing rod. In the meantime, let's chop down all of the trees again. My hope is that with these logs, plus the ones we gathered earlier, we'll be able to start expanding the base soon. Oh yeah, I also noticed some of the wheat grew, so I took a second to harvest it. Anyway, to expand the base, we're also going to need an absurd amount of dirt, so I went back into the caves to look for some. It's true that we can continue to get dirt from the ocean floor, but I thought this might be easier. And after shoveling up a few patches of the stuff, I could definitely confirm it was easier. The only problem is that I was really struggling to actually find the dirt patches to begin with. And yeah, I eventually just gave up and went back to our old method of getting more dirt from the bottom of the ocean. A little bit more tedious dealing with the water, but at least it's easier to locate the dirt. After a couple days of that though, my shovel was about to break, so I went back to our base and unloaded my inventory. I was doing some math though, and for the base I want to build, I'm going to need over 8,000 dirt, which equates to almost 4.5 chests full of dirt. I'm also going to need a lot of oak planks, close to 4,000, so I took a break from dirt gathering to chop down all of our trees again. Afterwards, I replanted all of the trees and then moved my logs into a separate chest to stay organized. With that taken care of, I made a brand new diamond shovel and then continued the dirt gathering grind. Kinda questioning my life decisions right now, but I'm just gonna trust the process. My second shovel was already out of durability, so I made my way back to our base, unloaded my haul of dirt, and made 3 new shovels since I figured we'd need them all. Before getting back to it though, I took the opportunity to chop down the trees once again. Okay, but with 3 shovels in hand now, I locked in and dug dirt for over an hour. I burnt through all 3 of our new shovels and even broke one on accident like a noob. After digging all that dirt though, I took a second to swing by our base to check how close we were to filling all of the chests with dirt. We're honestly pretty close, just need to fill 1 more chest, so I made 2 more shovels and locked in for the final dirt gathering session. It took a few more days of grinding, but finally I was able to collect the last of the dirt. With every single chest filled with dirt, we should be good to go. Only one last thing to do before getting started on the base, and that's chop down all of the trees one final time. As you can see, I have over half a chest filled with logs now, so I took a second to craft them into both planks as well as slabs. But finally, with everything we needed obtained, I got started on piecing together a huge platform for our base to sit on. After getting the outline in place using oak wood, I started filling in the various sections with all of the dirt we gathered. And I would have kept going, but I got interrupted by something absolutely legendary. A wandering trader. I made a few water buckets to trade with him for emeralds, and then purchased both moss blocks as well as acacia wood, which are going to be seriously awesome to decorate our base with. I also noticed I could sell some water bottles to him, so I started cooking up some sand and then took out a less desirable interruption, a pillager patrol. Once those villains were taken care of, I got back to making the water bottles, which I of course then traded for more emeralds. I used the emeralds to buy a bit more acacia wood, and then I saved the final one for future purchases. Resources are so hard to come by in this world, so I figured I better grab the leads too, and I even hitched up the llamas to a fence post. I'm sure we can make them a more permanent home in the future though, but for now this works. Anyway, we've gotten way too carried away, so let's get back to work and finish filling in the remaining sections with dirt. Kinda nuts, but it took a few days to get the rest of the area filled in. Really hoping once the grass spreads we'll be able to get some animals though, because we still haven't had a single one spawn yet. Anyway, after getting the entire thing filled in, I added a few docks sticking off the side of the base just to switch things up a bit since the entire platform is pretty much symmetrical. I was totally not expecting it to take 40 days just to get the platform in place. That was kind of insane. As you can see though, I tried to get a little bit organized. All of these chests have our remaining items in them. This one has, look at all of these shovels that I went through, plus I broke one. Oh man, we dug so much dirt. And surprisingly, we had quite a bit of dirt left over, but that's pretty good. I'm sure we'll use it for something eventually. And this final chest right here just has all of our oak materials, as well as saplings, flowers, and our apples and wheat. And you know what? Let's go ahead and grab some of these oak materials right now, since I'd like to build some more permanent wheat farms. What else are we gonna need? I guess these wheat seeds, of course, definitely need that for a wheat farm. I'll take these water buckets and, I don't know, maybe a stack of dirt. As you can see though, we have all of these smaller platforms kind of branching off of our main island, so I was thinking we could turn maybe like 2 or 3 of these into wheat farms, starting with this one right here. And let's just start off by adding a few water sources. Maybe we just come in like 5 blocks, we'll place a water source right there. Same thing on this side, come in 5 blocks, we'll do one right here, and then boop and boop. Okay, that's awesome. All we should have to do now is just till all of this dirt so we can plant the actual seeds. Got the entire area tilled, so let's plant these seeds. The final 3 right here, and boom, got a giant wheat farm now. Awesome. And we don't really have a whole lot of blocks to work with at the moment, but maybe we spice it up just a little bit by surrounding the entire thing with an oak fence. Something just like this is looking half decent. I feel like we should light the area up as well though, so let's just throw a few lanterns on top of the fence. And we don't need to go too overboard, maybe just one here, another one probably right there, and a final one, I don't even know, sure, right here. And yeah, there we go, got ourselves a wheat farm. I'm actually quite happy with this thing. No way, check this out, we finally had some animals spawn. We got chickens over here, we got a pig, we have 1 cow over there, and sheep. We have like all 4 of the main animals. No way, that's sick, let's go. Maybe we can use some of these mini islands for some animal pens as well. Let's just grab some materials real quick. I think maybe we can switch these ones up a little bit and use, yeah, probably some cobblestones. Let's just go here and turn these all into walls. And then let's see, maybe we can go like wall, 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 and wall. And if we do a fence post there, I think we can walk through, but the animals won't be able to. I mean, I could be wrong, I guess we'll see, but in the meantime, let's just continue placing our walls going all the way around. And I am out of walls. Great. No worries though. I think one of the caves that we explored earlier is, yeah, just over here. So let's hop down here. Oh man, the dolphins make me go crazy. Okay, yeah, we got this cave right here. Let's just go over to this wall and mine up a bunch of cobblestone. And honestly, I feel like I'm gonna need so much cobblestone for future projects in this world. So while we're here, I'll probably just grab a few stacks to, you know, tide us over for the next little while anyways. There's also a ton of gravel down here, so I think I'll pick up a little bit of this just so we can craft coarse dirt if we want to. Alrighty, I cleared out this entire section right here, and that got us, let's see, a little over 7 stacks of cobblestone, which is honestly pretty good, so let's get out of here. And I think it'd be pretty worthwhile to get ourselves a stone cutter, so I started smelting up a bit of this cobblestone. We'll just grab that, come over to our crafting table, do a line of stone and an iron ingot, and there we go, got ourselves a stone cutter. Can go ahead and place that down, and then let's just make ourselves maybe I don't know, like 2 stacks of cobblestone walls, that should be good. But now that we finally have more walls, let's continue extending this all the way around so we can finally finish up this animal pen. And I did grab a bit of gravel while I was down in that cave, so let's just turn some of this into coarse dirt. But with this coarse dirt, I was thinking we could add a tiny bit of texture variation. I think I want this animal pen to be for pigs, so you know, they like it nice and muddy, so I think it makes sense. It is going to be fairly subtle, but if you know anything about me, I absolutely love texture variation, so I can't help myself. And similar to what we did with the wheat farm, let's just throw a few of these lanterns on top to light up the area. I did have one more decoration idea, so let's grab these bones as well as these shears. First things first, let's just turn these bones into bone meal. Then if we bone meal some grass here, we can gather up some of this short grass. Okay, sweet. With this in hand, let's just dot a tiny bit of it around the animal pen itself. I think it'll just add a tiny bit of greenery, help liven it up a bit, you know, just a bit more detail. And I just had one more fun idea, which is to throw a few stone buttons in here, just to look like some small rocks, you know, just a little bit more detail, can never go wrong with that. Alrighty, but with that, I think our animal pen for our pigs is ready to go. And unfortunately, I don't have any carrots or potatoes to lure the pigs over, so I'm just gonna have to box off these llamas and steal the leads from them. Okay, sorry llamas, but I need these leads back, thank you very much. And then there's a couple of piggies over here, so come over here pig, and come over here pig, thank you. Alrighty, come in here pigs, welcome to your new home, I hope you like it. Had to quickly remove this fence to get them inside, but I think with that they shouldn't be able to get out, and there we go, got ourselves a pig pen. Of course I stayed up too late and stuff started spawning. Get out of here zombies, get off me, get off me, get out of here. This guy definitely needs to get out of here. I do not want any surprise explosions. With the pig pen now done, I do want to get started on some pens for the rest of the animals, but I really would like them to be grass on the inside of them, so I think we need to bridge this over so we can get the grass to spread. So something just like this, a bit of a dirt bridge, eventually the grass will spread all the way over and convert this entire thing to grass. And honestly, I feel like I'm going to want a bunch of these to be grass, so while we're in dirt bridging mode, let's just extend a bunch of these over to the outer islands, and eventually the grass will spread all over the place. It maybe looks a little bit weird right now, but I got dirt bridges extending to all of the mini kind of outer islands. And while waiting for the grass to spread, I built 3 more pens, which will eventually be for the cows, chickens, and sheep. I was really hoping the grass was going to spread a little bit more during that time. As you can see though, it's probably only like, I don't know, a quarter of the way there, so I guess we'll have to keep waiting. In the meantime, I was thinking we could build a more permanent spot for the llamas, because I do feel kind of bad for them just stuck in this boring dirt box. And I thought this mini island right beside the wheat farm could work perfectly. Maybe let's just begin by getting like a bit of an outline in for the foundation. And this area really is not that big, so I think we can just divide it into like 2 pens just like this. But yeah, now that we have the foundation in place, let's build up the rest of this thing. I found it pretty tricky to design something that I liked with such limited materials, but after a couple of days of trial and error, I think I came up with something pretty cool. Alright, here it is. Just ignore our dirt bridge. I'm still just trying to let the grass spread, but you can see it turned out decently. I tried to do a bit of texture variation on the walls just using gravel, tuff, and cobblestone. And I also added this kind of like cover on the side, and I was thinking we could just put a few hay bales under here and maybe just mix in even like some wool to look like some other type of hay bale. I don't know, it's maybe a little bit bright, but I think it works. And I did bring a few poppies with me as well, so maybe we just hide a few back here, you know, just to spice it up a bit. As you can see though, the actual stalls for the llamas themselves aren't looking too bad, you know, fairly basic in here, but I got a lantern lighting up the area and just a bit of like a fence sort of wall design dividing the 2 different sides. I think it's gonna look a whole lot better once the grass eventually spreads, but you know, while we continue to wait for that, let's actually bring the llamas over. So come on llamas, you can... Wait, what? Wait, am I tripping? Where did our llamas go? I left them in here, did I not? What the heck, man? I just built that entire thing for these llamas. Now they just disappeared? I'm actually depressed. What? Like, there's actually no shot. I just finished building them this thing and then they disappeared, right? Like, what is going on? I'll get rid of their dirt box anyways, and I don't know, hopefully some like horses or something spawn and then we can put them in the stable instead. Oh man, that's actually, I'm so sad now. But you know what? On a way brighter note, it's day 50, and you already know what that means. It's time to go check in on my cats. I cannot believe we've already made it to the halfway point in this challenge, and if you're enjoying the video so far, maybe consider giving it a like, and if it's your first time here, maybe subscribe too, you know, why not? Alright, but with that said, let's get back to Minecraft. The next thing I want to get to work on is building a starter house, because right now we're just kind of storing everything right here and it's a little bit scuffed. The only issue is that I'm like completely out of wood, so I was thinking we could turn this larger island over here into a tree farm. But anyway, I've already kind of marked out where I want it to go using some path blocks, so let's just go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then on top of that I'll place a slab, and then I'll just extend this going all the way over. And my hope is that these slabs will stop the big trees from growing. While those ones look cool, they're kind of a pain to chop down, so if we can just have like a row of the small ones, that'll be much easier. I marked out where I want it to end too, so we'll go one more slab there, and yeah, should be good to go. Let's just jump down, try to hit the water. Boom, nailed it. And then we can just get rid of that temporary dirt pillar just like that. And we have so much space on this thing, let's add one more row, I think. So once again, let's just extend our slabs going all the way across. We've got 2 rows of slabs in place, so all that's really left to do now is plant all of the saplings. Of course, I didn't have enough saplings to get the entire thing filled in, but you know what? This should be our basic tree farm good to go. While we wait for the trees to grow, let's get started on gathering up all the other materials that we're going to need for the starter house, and I do want to use a bunch of regular stones. Let's make a few more furnaces, throw some cobblestone in there, and all we got to do is wait. Something else I want to use is a bunch of bricks, but I think there should be a decent amount of clay just at the bottom of the ocean right here, so let's just place down our door, do our underwater breathing trick, and gather up a bunch of this. Got a whole lot more right here, perfect. It's been a few minutes and I got quite a bit of clay. Let's take a look. Okay, a little over 5 stacks of clay balls to be exact, so I think that should be enough. I am worried though that I'm not going to have enough coal to smelt this all up, so let's grab any that we see. Got a bit more right here, I'll take that, thank you very much. Just hit the mother lode right here, look how much coal this is, let's go. I was able to get over a stack of coal, which is fantastic, so let's get this stone out of here, throw some of this clay in, and start smelting it up. And you know what, I also want to use a tiny bit of terracotta, so let's turn some of this into regular clay and smelt that up as well. Let's carry on though, as there's still quite a few other blocks that I want to use. So back down in this cave once again, I want to place down one of the moss blocks that we got from the wandering trader, use some bone meal on that, and then gather up a bunch of these moss blocks. And the nice thing is, we should also get a bunch of azaleas as well as moss carpet and stuff like that, a lot of really nice things that we can use to decorate the base with. But the main thing that I want to use the moss for is to make mossy cobblestone, so just while we're down here, let's grab a few more stacks of cobble. Get out of here, skeleton, you're interrupting my resource gathering. Ooh, I got a bow. What's this bow? I'm breaking 1, okay. That sucks. I got a little bit carried away and spent quite a while mining cobblestone. I got, what is this, like 7.5 stacks, and I even broke my pickaxe in the process. But anyway, let's take a stack of this, we'll take a stack of our moss blocks and turn that into mossy cobblestone, and I don't know, maybe just make like 2 stacks of mossy cobblestone and should be good. Alright, but with that in hand, let's make our way back up to our base. And since I broke my pickaxe, how many diamonds do we have? Okay, we only have 1 diamond, let's just grab some iron instead, I guess. And it kinda sucks we're back to using an iron pickaxe, but you know, that's all we really have. We're definitely gonna have to go do some mining soon. But anyway, let's continue with the material gathering grind, and I'll just take these bricks out of here, put the sand in there so we can get some glass, and I'll take these bricks as well, and this terracotta. Alrighty, but with these bricks, let's just make some of these brick blocks, you know, the bigger ones, and then let's maybe just turn those into a couple of stairs and a couple of slabs. And then we still do have a decent amount of bricks left over, so let's make a few flower pots. It looks like all of our trees grew, which is awesome, and none of them turned into those annoying to cut down large trees, so that's perfect. Before we chop these all down though, I am just going to grab a few leaves, as they could be pretty nice to decorate the house with. Alright, got a little over a stack of leaves there, so let's get to chopping these trees down. Also, my diamond axe is going to break any second now. We definitely got to do some mining soon, as we need more diamonds for sure. And yep. There goes the axe. Good thing I came prepared and brought an iron one with me as well. You know, not as fast, but it is what it is. I got all the trees chopped, and while we wait for all of these saplings to drop, let's take a second to harvest our wheat farm, as another block that I want to use inside of the house is packed mud. Why is gathering wheat so satisfying? Oh, I love this. And of course, let's be a good farmer and replant all of this. Just like that, the whole thing is replanted. Nice. And before I get too carried away, let's also replant all of these saplings. As I mentioned though, I want to use some packed mud, so let's just place down some regular mud first and then convert all of this into mud blocks using a water bottle. And I don't know why, but I also find this super satisfying for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's just the mud breaking sound. It sounds so nice. Alrighty, let's just pick up all of this mud. And then since we already harvested all of our wheat, we can just take that, take our mud, and boom, packed mud. We're getting pretty close to having everything that we need. There's just a few more things, like for example, the sand that we smelted should be glass now, which is perfect. But I did just want to take this one step further by turning it into some glass panes. Another block we need is just a little bit of white wool, and luckily there's a lot of sheep around here, which I do want to move into their pen still, but I am still waiting for this grass to spread. As you can see, like for this one right here, it's still only halfway. Kinda painful waiting, but it is what it is. Something else that I forgot that I wanted to use is stripped oak logs, so I'm just back at our tree farm chopping a few of these trees down. Got a decent amount of stripped logs, and I just want to go ahead and craft a few final things that we're going to need. For example, a campfire, and then we're also going to need a bunch of oak trapdoors, barrels, and chiseled bookshelves. Low-key though, I am kind of worried that that is not going to be enough of these wood materials, so I'm just going to chop down these trees as they grow to, you know, get a bit more wood, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, a couple of days of chopping down trees later, and I got a bunch more wood, so let's just turn all of this into barrels. And then I've just been putting everything into this chest right here, and I think with all of these materials now, we should be good to go to build up our starter house, so you know what? Let's do it. For the foundation of the house, I mainly used stone and stone bricks for a strong look, and then I mixed in a lot of the oak wood, mainly just because that's the only wood type that we have, but I think it contrasts with the stone pretty nicely. As for the roof, I went with oak wood once again for the trim, and then filled in the rest with cobblestone and mossy cobblestone. I also did just want to show you in a little bit of closer detail that for the second floor, I used chiseled bookshelves for like a trim, which I've never tried before, and then I also mixed dirt and packed mud together for the walls. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. As crazy as it is though, I do think it works, and I also did add a chimney on the side just using bricks with a bit of terracotta mixed in for texture variation. Now it's time for the fun part though, where we can add some of these smaller details, and because I did include like a covered area on the side of the house, I thought we could just throw some barrels and chests under there, just, you know, for a bit more detail. Moving right along, we have this open section right beside the entrance, so I was thinking we could do a few hay bales like that, maybe one more on top, and yeah, just adds a bit of color and fills out that space. Carrying on with the idea of adding more color into the build, I was thinking we could do a flower pot in front of each of these windows, and inside a dandelion. And I'll do the exact same thing at the back of the house, and honestly, dandelions aren't my favorite flower in this game, but we don't really have a whole lot of options, and I still do think they look nice. Also, if you didn't know, you can use the backside of barrels to almost look like spruce, which is exactly what I did up there. You can see it's a barrel right here. It's a little kind of, you know, crazy building technique, but I do like using it from time to time. And the wall on the right side of the house is still looking a little bit basic, so maybe we just throw even more hay bales here, you know, why not? Maybe just something like that, and one more right there, and yeah, I think that looks pretty good. We still gotta move all of our junk inside, but I am really liking the look of the starter house so far. Before we get too carried away on the interior of the house though, I did want to check some of these bridges to see if the grass is spread. Okay, wait, it's spread by one block there. Let's go. That means we can get rid of this one. All of these dirt, or I guess grass bridges at this point, are kind of starting to bother me, so I want to get rid of as many as I can. And let's see, this animal pen one has spread all the way, which is great. Let's get rid of this one. Oh, and check this out. It's reached all the way over to the tree farm. That is awesome. Let's get rid of this one. And the grass has also reached all the way over to our stable, which is, you know, supposed to be for the llamas. Unfortunately, it's a little bit empty. Oh man, I'm still cheesed that those guys just like despawned. I don't know what happened to them. Dang it. Anyway, let's get rid of the bridge. Unfortunately, the grass is still spreading over to a few of these outer islands, but you know what? A couple of the animal pens are good to go. The grass is all in place there, so let's lure the animals over. And I was thinking the first of the two could be for sheep, so yeah, come over here, sheepies. How do you like it, sheep? You like it? Yeah, you like it. There you go. You can breed. Hey, yo! Okay, sweet. The sheep are in place, and I was thinking this one beside it could be for chickens, so let's go find some. Come on, little chicken. And we got a second chicken over here. Come on as well. Be careful, don't fall in the water. Sweet, you made it. I think these guys are liking their new animal pen as well, so there you go. Breed up. I'm super glad the sheep and the chickens have a proper home now, and once the grass spreads into this pen, I'll move all of the cows over here. No way, check out what just spawned. We got ourselves a second wandering trader. Please have some good trades. Let's see. Ooh, some pale oak, not bad. Okay, actually not too great. I was really hoping for like some saplings or something like that, but you know what? We do have these water bucket and water bottle trades again, so we should get some emeralds while we have the chance. And I'm pretty sure I do have some in here. Okay, I have a bunch of buckets, and over here, yeah, some water bottles. So let's just quickly grab a bunch of water, and then come over here, WandyT, give me some emeralds, thank you very much, and I'll get some more emeralds like this too, thank you. And then I guess we'll buy all the pale oak that we can, you know, I'm sure we can find some sort of use for it. And you know what, I will buy a blue orchid as well as some of this brown dye. We could probably dye some of the sheep brown and get some brown wool. But you know what I just realized? We can finally fill our stable with some llamas. So come here llama, come on guys. Finally we can say that we did not build this thing for nothing, so come on in here guys, and I'll just hit you right up to here. You know what, let's actually divide them into the 2 different stalls, you know, just to spread them out a bit and fill up the space a little bit more. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't tame them before, that's probably why they despawned, huh? Okay, but there we go, hopefully the disappearing llama curse is now lifted. Okay, but you know what? I think it's finally time to get started on the interior of our house. And first things first, let's just patch up some of these walls. There's a bit of a weird gap like at the top of them, so I just want to get these patched up. Something just like that is looking quite a bit better, and next up I just want to get rid of the floor, and of course that's going to reveal the ocean right below us, but yeah, let's get rid of this so we can place in a proper floor. And I just had a crazy idea, since we can see the ocean right below us, what if we make the entire floor out of glass so we can still see it? Oh, I think it'll look really cool. Just getting the last few blocks in place, and check this thing out. It looks awesome. Moving on to the ceiling next, I was thinking we could use some of the pale oak that we got from the wandering trader. I mean, we got it, so we might as well use it. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit on the bright side, but I think I like it. As for this larger area of the house that has 2 floors, we're definitely going to need a staircase, so maybe let's just see if we can put one over in this corner right here. Maybe something just like that, and then underneath we can do some upside down stairs as well, just to make it look a little bit more supported. And then hopefully we're actually going to have enough, but I want to use pale oak for the second floor as well. Alright, sweet, it looks like we have more than enough pale oak, which is great. And the ceiling of the second floor itself is looking pretty boxy, so I'm thinking we can just kind of smooth it out a little bit using some upside down oak stairs. I also added like an oak beam going all the way across at the very top, and I think it's looking a lot better in here. No way, I just popped my head outside, and look at this, we got a 3rd wandering trader just days after we got the 2nd one. This is crazy. Okay, let's see, what do you have for us, guy? Oh, spruce wood! Spruce wood, it's not a spruce sapling, but spruce wood. Oh man, let's go. Oh, and check this out, we could also unlock the wildflowers. That'd be pretty cool. I just grabbed some stuff to trade with him, so come over here, guy. Let's get some emeralds by trading some hay bales, as well as more water buckets. Okay, but then with that, I'll definitely buy all the spruce wood that I can. There we go. Oh, 32 spruce logs. That is beautiful. And then we still do have 1 emerald left, so I'll just buy one of these wildflowers. We keep getting distracted by these wandering traders, but anyway, let's get back to work on the interior by adding a few lanterns to light up the area. So let's maybe just do another one like right about here, boom. And that should be good for the second floor, so let's try to find somewhere to add some at the bottom here as well. A little bit tricky since we can't hang them right off of these slabs, but we definitely could do one right there, place a lantern there, and then we can get rid of probably that torch. Okay, maybe to light up beside the entrance, we make a small shelf and just throw a lantern right on top right there, and then we can get rid of that torch. And then maybe we'll do the exact same thing on this side as well, so just do a shelf and boom, lantern. And I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's do one more shelf and one more lantern. Okay, but honestly, the interior is looking pretty sweet, I think, you know, just basic, but we got all of the floors and the walls and stuff in place, so I think it's about time that we bring all of our junk from outside into the inside. So yeah, time to break down all of these chests. It took me a little over a day, but I managed to get everything put inside. As you can see, there's a bunch of chests on the back wall now, and I did go ahead and organize all of these. So like that's all of our wood, this is our dirt, this is our vegetation, and yeah, you get the idea. And I did try to add just a few decorations, like we have our stone cutter here, our crafting table, and our bed is over here as well, and then on this back wall is our smelting area. There was just one more thing that I wanted to add to the shelf though, and that's a couple of flower pots, and here we can do an oak sapling and our single blue orchid. Over on this other wall, we have all of the pillager banners that we've gotten, and we do have this shelf right here, so I was thinking we could do another flower pot and a dandelion. Kind of a simple interior, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, I think I'm fine with it for now, and we can always add more decorations once we gather more materials. I was taking a quick look around, and I think grass has finally spread to all of these outer islands. It took way too long, like I don't even know how many days ago that I started this, but you know what, finally we can get rid of all of these bridges. Now that those bridges are out of the way though, we can finally decorate this cow pen. And the first thing I wanted to start with is just getting rid of some of this grass and replacing it with coarse dirt. So something just like this, and surprisingly, a block that blends in really well with coarse dirt is oak logs, so I think just adding a few there will add a tiny bit more texture variation. And then to bring a bit of color into the area, let's just dot a few of these hay bales around, maybe another one here, here, and maybe one more right there. I was thinking we could also make some sort of like water troughs, you know, so the cows can drink some water, and I would make these normally out of spruce wood. Oh wait, I guess we do have spruce wood, don't we? Oh, that's fine. Let's do the pale oak anyways. All right, and we got 2 of those built up, so let's just fill them in with some water. So boop, and there we go. This place is looking pretty nice, I think. Maybe one last thing we can add is just a bit more short grass, just to, you know, kind of blend the different elements together and make it look a little bit more lush in here. Okay, but finally we can gather up all of these wandering cows and bring them over to the pen. All right, there we go. We got 5 cows in here, which is honestly pretty awesome. So there you go. Breed up, guys. Yo, look at this dude spinning. What is going on? Woo! Hey, yo. I am super happy with how this cow pen turned out, and honestly, I sort of want to revisit some of our other animal pens and add even more decorations. So for example, our pig pen here is looking not bad, but I was thinking we could add a few more larger rocks just using some mossy cobblestone slabs. Yeah, something just like this is looking pretty good, honestly, and another idea I had was to add some kind of like logs laying around, and I thought this could also be a perfect opportunity to use some of the acacia logs that we got. That first wandering trader did hook us up, so you know, we had to use it somewhere. Check out this pig right here. He absolutely loves this log, don't you, buddy? Yeah, he likes it. And even this one over here, he loves his mossy cobblestone slab rock. Let's go. Okay, but yeah, I'm really happy with this pig pen now. I think it's looking a whole lot better. And next up, let's go detail the chicken pen a little bit more. There's just one material I'm missing that I want to use though, and that's some granite, so I'm just back down in that cave again to gather a bit up. And of course, when I got back to the surface, it was completely pitch black out and a bunch of stuff spawned, so let's get rid of all of these creepers. I really don't want to get blown up. Get out of here, creeper. Alright, but let's get to work on decorating this chicken pen, because right now it is pretty basic to say the least. And whenever I think of chickens, I think of chicken coops, so that's exactly what I want to build here. And let's just start off with this first one by stacking up some logs about 3 blocks tall. And then in the very middle, let's do a plank, and then all around we'll do some upside down stairs. And then to make the thing feel a little bit more enclosed, I want to use some oak trapdoors just kind of on 3 of the sides, just like that. And we'll leave this open so the chickens can get in and out. And to add to that even more, we can do some rails here to look like a little bit of a ramp that the chickens can walk up. Last but not least, let's just throw the roof on using some alternating granite and brick slabs. It looks like the chickens like the design though. They're all hanging out right by it. Are you gonna go in there, chicken? Come on, go in. Alright, he'll go when he's ready. But anyways, I do like this design, so let's build one more right over here. Okay, sweet, we got 2 coops now. They're looking very nice, and I also did mix in just a little bit of moss blocks into the ground for a tiny bit of texture variation. I think our chicken animal pen is looking a whole lot better, if I do say so myself, so I was thinking we could get started on spicing up the sheep one next. And I've been thinking, what do I want to add for the sheep pen? You know, what would fit for that theme? And I was thinking some like super mini trees could be pretty fun. And maybe let's just do the first one here. We'll just come up not even that high, probably just like 3 blocks. And then we can just surround this top one with leaves going all the way around. And maybe we just keep it super simple. We'll do like a plus shape and then probably one more leaf on top. Let's take a quick step back. And yeah, it's super small, but I like that. It's pretty cute, honestly, and I think maybe let's just build another one like right about here. I got that one in place, and I made it a tiny bit taller just to switch it up a bit, but we do still have a decent amount of space in here, so let's just do maybe one more tree right about there. And there we go, we got 3 super cute mini trees looking absolutely awesome. I'm sure the sheep are going to enjoy the shade. I do want to add a tiny bit of texture variation to the floor. Ooh, that sheep almost just fell in there. I do want to add a tiny bit of texture variation just using some mossy cobblestone. And then we can surround that with a little bit of moss just to kind of blend everything together and, you know, add even more texture variation because I'm addicted. And there we go. The ground is all textured up. The trees are looking good. So I'm happy to call the sheep pen done. With all of these animals that we have, we're going to need a lot of wheat to breed them up. So I want to harvest our existing farm and then maybe expand it onto 2 more of these outer islands since we still have quite a few empty ones. So yeah, let me just finish gathering up all this wheat and then we'll get to building. I kept it super simple and converted 2 more of the outer islands to wheat farms as well, just using the exact same design as our first farm. Alright, sweet. I am super glad that we got those in place. It's just going to be super nice having, you know, access to a ton of wheat, but to celebrate getting those done, I think it's time to breed our animals. And this guy is straight up staring me in the face, so I'll start with you. There, have some wheat, you guys as well. There you go, and you as well, and boom. Alright guys, breed up. And unfortunately, we still don't have a way to breed the pigs yet, as we don't really have any like potatoes or carrots or anything like that, but that's alright, these guys are chilling. Alrighty, but let's also breed the sheep, and while we're here, let's also just shear them, as I would like to use some wool in some future builds, so it's probably a good idea to stockpile a little bit. And last but not least, let's just breed up these chickens. So here you go, have some seeds. And we got 1 egg. Let's see, can we get lucky? Nope. We have most of the outer islands filled with builds now, still just have a few of them to fill in, but that's alright, we'll get to those later, because right now I want to start tackling the main kind of like island area in the center, as right now it is super empty. And the first thing I want to build is a mine entrance, because let's take a look in this chest. You can see all of the stuff that I have. I have 1 diamond left and like 12 iron. It is looking pretty grim, so we definitely need to go mining. I'm pretty sure I have most of the things that I need to build the mine entrances, but I do want to use just a bit of andesite, so I'm back down in this cave once again to gather some up. I really don't need that much. After these 2, I should have an entire stack. Yep, there we go. So let's get out of here. Back at our starter house, let's just throw this into a stone cutter and make some polished andesite. I'm also going to need some cobblestone walls, so let's grab some right here. And I'll also take some oak planks, some stairs, and these slabs too. And to really sell the mine look, I want to use some rails in the build. You know, probably a dumb idea to use like the last of our iron pretty much to craft these, but you know, whatever, it's for the build. And if we're going to be done with our iron, we might as well just go all out and turn the very last of it into some lanterns. Like, I'm not even kidding, look at this, we have 17 iron nuggets left in here. Oh man, we are so cooked. I went ahead and got all of the other materials kind of, you know, put together. As you can see, they're all in my inventory right here. So you know what, let's just get straight to building. I roughly based my design off of the gold mine that you can find in Clash of Clans, and just because the design itself is kind of on the smaller side, I went ahead and built 3 of them just to fill out the space a bit. Alright, these mine entrances are looking pretty decent. I think it'll look better once we add some like pathways and stuff, but I think I want to do that later once we have some more builds here, and I'll just connect everything all at once. But anyway, you can see I tried to add these like rails, which I mean, it doesn't really make too much practical sense, it's not really going anywhere, but if you look at it from like this angle, it looks like it's kind of, you know, winding down there or something. I don't know, I think it looks alright. And I didn't really have a whole lot of options, so I just threw a bunch of raw copper in front of all of the mines. I mean, I did have enough gold to make 1 raw gold block, so you know, there you go. But anyway, I thought it'd be fun to maybe hide a ladder kind of like somewhere maybe here, which is going to be a little bit tricky. Like it'll be this block right here. So we're going to have to build, I don't know, maybe we just use some oak planks to create like a bit of like a chute. Let's just build these going all the way up, something just like that. We of course have the issue though that it's all water. So first things first, let's just fill this in with some dirt. And then if we get rid of all of this dirt going all the way back down to the bottom, the water should be gone. And yeah, there we go. We're back down into stone layers. And then of course we need a way to get out. So let's just place a ladder going all the way back up to the top. So now hopefully we shouldn't have to, you know, jump into the ocean whenever we need to go mining. The only issue now is that this doesn't really lead to anywhere. So I'm going to keep digging down. Okay, maybe straight down's not the best idea. Yeah, I'm just going to keep searching until eventually I bump into a cave. Alright, there we go. I just bumped into a cave. Let's go. That's perfect. And honestly, I really want to explore down there and find some more iron and diamonds, as we're in desperate need of that. But before we get too carried away, let's just place down our crafting table. And that's just because I don't think I have enough ladders to get all the way back up to the top. So let's do that, make a bit more ladders and go like that, and boom, more ladders. And then let's just get this connected up, going all the way back up to the top. Last few ladders, and there we go. Okay, we got a way to get all the way down. Okay, that was a little scary. Okay, don't do that. Okay, but now that our escape route is kind of in place now, let's explore this cave and hopefully find more iron and diamonds. And already there's more iron here, let's go. Guess I'll take this gold too, why not? I'd prefer not to get blown up. Get out of here, creeper. Heck yes, we got a bunch of iron here, let's pick this up. Oh, and there goes my pickaxe. Of course my pickaxe broke, so I'm just making a few furnaces. Then we can just place these down like that and throw some of our iron in here to get it all smelted up. And you know, I'm impatient, so let's use all of these furnaces. Alright, it's been a few seconds, let's go. The iron is ready, let's take that, take this, and take this. Then all we gotta do is just make ourselves a few more sticks, go like that, and there we go, brand new pickaxe. There's a ton of iron here, which is, you know, pretty nice, but hopefully this cave does go deeper, as I really do want more diamonds. Okay, there's a bit of coal here. I should pick this up because I'm pretty sure I'm getting kind of low on this stuff. Ignore the arrows here. I was just getting my booty cheeks clapped. Oh, they just despawned. Okay, anyways, what I was trying to say is that, check this out. Deep slate coal ore. Isn't this stuff like super rare? I mean, I don't have silk touch. Should I just... Ooh. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do it. I did it. I finally made it down to deep slate levels, and check this out. Right off the bat, more diamonds, let's go. Are you kidding me though? Is it only 1 diamond? Oh man, this game's a cheapskate. Okay, fine, maybe not that much of a cheapskate because there's more diamonds right here. Let's mine these up. Man, this is a massive cave. There definitely has to be more diamonds down here. I'm just a little bit scared though. I still only have iron armor. It's a little sketchy. Get out of here, Mr. Creeper. What's attacking me? Oh, invisible spider. What is this? What was that? Am I tripping? What was that? Man, there's some diamonds right there, but it's guarded by like a million mobs. Get out of here. Oh man, those skeletons over there have aimbot. Let's just make ourselves a new shield. I really don't want mine to break in the middle of battle. That'll be pretty bad. Alright, skeletons, come get this smoke. Yes, just fight each other. Fight each other. Yes. Boom, get out of here. Dude, look at this. Whoa, there's so many zombies over there. What is going on? And look how many zombies this is. What the heck? Okay, I think I dealt with most of the mobs in this area, so let's get these diamonds. And oh, this is a huge vein. Let's go. I just want these diamonds, and there's like a million mobs here. Oof. Thank you, creeper. Got the diamond for me. Thanks, bud. Holy, there's so many mobs there. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. No, forget that. Forget that. I already managed to get 13 diamonds, which is pretty crazy. So let's just go ahead, make a few sticks here, and make ourselves a new diamond pickaxe just to speed up the process a bit. I feel like we've gotten a decent supply of diamonds, and I'm kind of scared of dying down here just because of how many mobs there are, so I think I'm gonna call it quits on the diamond adventuring, at least for now. But just while we're down here, I was thinking we could grab a few materials that I'm gonna need for building, and of course I'm getting interrupted by a zombie. Get out of here, Mr. Zombie, please, thank you. As I was trying to say, I do need some materials for building, for example, this deep slate that I'm mining right now, so let's get this as well as a few other materials and then get out of here. I got a few stacks of deep slate, and next up I'm just grabbing a bit of this granite. Probably I'll get like, I don't know, 3 or 4 stacks. That should be lots. And you know what, while I'm down here, I'm just gonna lock in for a few minutes and gather a bunch of cobblestone as well. Let's see how much that we can get. I dug out this entire room, and despite my inventory being pretty full, I managed to get, what is that, 7 stacks of cobblestone, which is pretty good honestly, so let's carry on. And there's just one more thing that I want from down here before we go back up to the surface, and that's some obsidian so we can make a nether portal, so let's get some of this too. And as always, this takes way too long to mine. I swear on my life, I have been mining obsidian for like 10 years, but let's see, how much is that? 31 obsidian. And believe it or not, I actually do need that much as I want to build a pretty big nether portal, but anyway, let's finally go back up to the surface. Back at our house, I began smelting a few stacks of the cobblestone in our furnaces, and then got to work crafting a variety of different blocks so that we can build our nether portal. After that, I used bone meal and shears to gather more short grass, and while I was at it, I also grabbed more oak leaves from our tree farm. All I needed at this point was the smelted stone from the furnaces, and just like that, we have everything we'll need to build our nether portal. Getting right to it, I tried to make it look like some sort of ancient ruin or monolith with lots of moss and leaves growing around it. And I really like the shape with the pointed top. All in all, came out great. Before heading into the scary nether, I took a moment to dye all the sheep white, shear them, and breed them. And I also quickly made some gold boots as well as some bread, just in case we get low on food. But with that, I stepped inside the portal to see what was waiting for us on the other side. Luckily, we got a pretty safe spawn, so I started looking around, and right away I found a warped forest, so I began gathering all of the different blocks that come along with the biome. Since we still have a few empty mini islands around our base, I think it would be absolutely epic to make some miniature versions of both the warped and crimson biomes to bring a ton of color into the area. That means I also had to locate a crimson forest, which turned out to be way more dangerous because of how many hoglins there were. But I did my best to stay focused and collected all of the different blocks for this biome as well. As much as I'd love to continue exploring the nether, we're quickly running out of time to finish our base, so I made my way back to the overworld on day 87. And with a bunch of materials gathered up in the nether, I got straight to building, beginning with our custom crimson biome. I tried to stay true to the vanilla generation, but added a little bit more flair to make it feel unique. And it was the same exact story for our custom warped forest biome. I've always wanted to try making microbiomes like this, to be honest, and I'm glad I did because they were a blast to put together. Moving right along, I wanted to get started on building some pathways, so I made a brand new diamond shovel and then spent an entire day at the bottom of the ocean digging up gravel. And I still had a decent supply of dirt and storage, so I combined that with the gravel we just dug up to make a bunch of coarse dirt. All that was left to do at this point was dig out the area for the actual pathway. And shockingly, it ended up taking like 2 days to dig out the entire area. I even had to take a pit stop to craft a second shovel, which is kinda nuts. But once it was finally cleared out, I placed in the path. Along with the coarse dirt, I also mixed in regular dirt and granite for a bit of, you guessed it, texture variation. For real though, pretty happy with how the path turned out, and it makes the area feel a lot more connected. There's still a few large open areas in between the paths though, so I got started on getting together some materials to build another house. I crafted some deep slate slabs and stairs, oak materials, and I even used our extremely limited supply of spruce to craft a decent supply of trapdoors. Oh yeah, and I also made some copper grates too. Unfortunately, I didn't have everything in our storage room though, so first I went to the ocean floor once again to dig up a few stacks of sand. Once I had quite a bit of the stuff, I turned a few stacks into sandstone, and I even started smelting a stack of it into smooth sandstone. And while that cooked up, I ran over to the tree farm and got close to 2 stacks of stripped oak logs. Okay, but with that, we finally had everything we needed, so I started building the new house. Do we need a second house? Not really, but it helped a lot with filling out the space, and they're my favorite thing to build, so I figured why not. By the time I finished the house, it was already day 97, and we still had several open areas remaining, so I locked in harder than I've ever locked in before and created a campsite and a small well. On day 98, I harvested one of our wheat farms and then checked in on our sheep again, shearing them for their wool in the process. After that, I hopped into the ocean and unalived some squid for their ink sacs. I want to use the wool we got to make some market stalls, so I dyed it black and a few other colors, and then I built the actual markets. The striped designs are pretty simple, but nice looking, I think. We have pretty limited blocks to decorate with, but I turned one of the stalls into a flower shop, just using a bunch of flower pots. The next one is probably my favorite, a colorful painting stall. And I barely had any armor to display, but I made a small armor shop too. With the markets detailed, I only had minutes to spare before the sunset, so I used all the bone meal I had to my name to try to fill out any remaining empty patches around our base, and I also planted as many flowers as I could. But with that, let's throw on some shaders and take a look at everything we were able to build in 100 days. This challenge flew by. It feels like just yesterday I was digging stacks upon stacks of dirt from the bottom of the ocean to build this entire platform, but holy cow, here we are, day 100. Of course, there's pillagers right here. I don't even have time for those guys. Let's just head into our starter house. Owie, owie, stop, ow. Okay, I just want to take a look in here. So of course we have our starter house. It's looking super cool with the shaders on, like our floor like this. Oh man, this is sick. This interior ended up pretty simple, but you know, it was quite functional and was able to do everything that we needed it to do. Right on the other side of our starter house, we have this other building that we made. Both of these houses were pretty tricky to design just with how limited blocks that we had, but I think it came out pretty nice. We have these like oak beams, and then for the foundation I used cobblestone as well as like tough and mossy cobble. And then for the second floors, just used a bunch of the different sand blocks. Alright, I want to continue my tour, but this pillager has got to get out of here. Get out of here, guy. On the main kind of island in the center, we also have this campsite that I think came out pretty cozy. Very nice to just relax here. And then we of course have all of these mine entrances. You know, probably doesn't make too much sense on a floating island to have a, you know, mine like this, but I think they look cool, so let's roll with it. And then we also just have this well, which is, you know, a simple design, but it looks pretty nice with these pots kind of scattered around it. One of the most useful things we built was definitely this tree farm. It's pretty basic, but it helps so much with getting tons of wood. Right beside the tree farm, we of course have our llamas. I'm so glad that we got more llamas in here. After the first ones disappeared, I was so depressed, but you know, it's looking pretty nice now. This one's still kind of growing back, but we of course have all of these wheat farms scattered around. Super handy to have and definitely helped out with breeding our animals. I think this next one might be my favorite build on our entire base. This nether portal came out super sick. It has this like mysterious ancient vibe to it, which I absolutely love. Right next to our portal, we have our custom crimson biome, which looks pretty cool, especially with the shaders on. And I do wish we could have put like the crimson nether rack at the bottom, but without silk touch, I don't think it's possible. Anyway, moving right along, we have our sheep pen over here. These micro trees are looking so cute. Really happy with how this one turned out. Same thing for our chicken pen. The little coops in here are just super cute. I've always wanted to build a coop like this with rails for like a ramp, and I'm glad I did it. Got another wheat farm right there, and then beside that is all of our market stalls. I wish I could have detailed these ones a little bit more, but I had such limited materials to work with. I do like this painting stall though. I think this one's pretty cozy. I feel like we're already running out of sunlight, but I really do like this custom warped biome. It looks especially sick with these like vines just adding a lot of like vertical height to the build. And then right beside that is our cow pen. These guys are still spinning. I don't know what is wrong with these things. And then we have one more wheat farm, and right beside that is our pig pen. Unfortunately, even after 100 days, I still was not able to obtain any carrots or potatoes, so still haven't been able to breed these guys. And then the last build is just these simple docks kind of on the side of our base, which, you know, probably should have built some boats or something, but, you know, maybe in a 200-day video. The sun is already setting though, so let's hop inside of our starter house, take a sleep, and with that, we've survived all 100 days. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you want to explore this world for yourself, you can get the world download on my Patreon or by becoming a member right here on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, happy building, and I'll see all of you in the next video.